As I reflected on the verses for today, I was reminded of all the people we've already encountered in John's gospel and how God's grace was made available to them all, and how it's available to each one of us in our individual circumstances today. God's grace was available to Nicodemus, the religious insider who had the right heritage and schooling, the respected leader and teacher, a man in need of Jesus. God's grace was available to the Samaritan woman, the despised outcast from the wrong background who was isolated, alone, and living in shame, a woman in need of Jesus. God's grace is now made available to the royal official, the nobleman who has wealth, power, position, influence, and prestige, all of which could not protect him from life's tragedies, a man in need of Jesus. See, the royal official had all that the world had to offer, but he's an absolutely desperate man as he approaches Jesus because his son is dying, and all of the resources at his disposal are powerless to stop death. And it doesn't matter who you are. Sooner or later, each one of us is going to face desperate circumstances. There will be great challenges, sorrows, and possibly even tragedies. The royal official is a reminder to us that the things of this world, status, success, wealth, influence, and power, he had them all, aren't going to prevent suffering in our life. Therefore, they cannot become the source of our security. And when we're self sufficient, there will come a point when the insufficiencies of our own capabilities become apparent to us. The illusion of our self sufficiency will be gone, and our true neediness will be revealed. We'll be shown to be men and women in need of Jesus. What do we do when we realize we don't actually have all that we need? Well, in his desperation, the official turns to Jesus and begs him to intervene. And God, in his grace, does not leave us alone in our desperate circumstances. God, in his grace, responds to our pleas for help. And this is exactly what we see Jesus do in John 4, verse 50. Then Jesus told him, "Go back home, your son will live." And the man believed what Jesus said and started home. The faith of the royal official, it challenges me because the man leaves Jesus without any visible evidence that this healing is going to happen. He chooses to take Jesus at his word that he will act in these desperate circumstances. The man chooses to obey and go back home. And it reminds me that faith is not something just to believe in your mind, but that faith shapes the way that you live. That faith determines our response in the good times and in the hard times. And that faith believes before seeing. Because most frequently, we're going to have faith God is working in our circumstances before we actually see him working in our circumstances. Biblical faith rests on God's character, not in his provisions. When we trust in God's character, we can trust he is working in this world and in our circumstances, even when we don't see it. When we trust in God's character, we trust that he will provide all that is needed for us. Let each one of us be challenged to have faith like this royal official, to believe, even if we don't see the provision yet, to be needy men and women before Jesus, because he truly has everything we need.